Welcome to the Hustle Wing podcast. Today we are joined by Eddie Killian, the founder of SynthSage. He's going to chat to us about his idea and we're just going to get to know him a little bit. So thank you so much for your time, Eddie. How are you doing today?
Very well. Thanks, Izzy. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what is SynthSage?
The idea behind SynthSage is it is an AI based SaaS that what we will do is create training programs for organizations across many different industries. It's very
Okay.
adaptable that actually collects and has processes that collect knowledge from current employees and workers and ties that into the standard ideas, culture, and SOP and things like that that the organization already has. So we don't
Hmm.
lose by doing this. We don't not only do we not lose the information and the skills and the experiences of our longer term workers, but
Yeah.
we're able to adapt that into the training programs so that that knowledge base is immediately entered into even a new hire onboarding program. So we really
Amazing.
we save that information within the organization so that it grows and adapts.
Okay, that's so cool. Okay, I love it. Um, so how does it work? How would you extract that information from the veterans? Well, are they veterans? The senior workers.
Yeah, well, I've done this. Unfortunately,
Okay.
at the time, we didn't have AI to be able to pull off the really good part. What's
Yeah.
happened is I was working within the oil and gas industry, and we have that big disparate gap between the new hires coming in and their
Yeah.
experiences and what they know and what they understand and what they know they need to be looking for comparative
Hmm.
to the longer term workers. And
Yeah.
one of the things is we had in that organization, they have what they call an SSE or a short service employee program. And so a person has to be a mentor to that new hire for 6 months to make sure that they're learning what they need to learn to be able to understand things.
Oh, yeah.
But the
Yeah.
reality is that information, instead of learning it in the field while you're trying to learn all these other things, all that safety
Mm,
information and the things that you need to be looking out for that is key to good quality, safe work is actually stuff that can be
mhm.
brought in and taught within coursework. But we kind of have to know
Yeah.
what that is and gain that from our longer term employees rather than
Yeah.
having somebody from an office try and make up what work looks like in the field because it varies so
Yeah.
much and has so many different
Yeah.
variables. Um, so what we were doing was we were doing it hard copy effectively. We created a newsletter, and so when we would go out into the field and we would see that somebody that was a longer term employee or a group or a team was doing something that was different than was what was part of our normal training programs and ideas
Yeah.
and knowledge conveyance, we would do
Hmm.
that through the newsletter. There was a weekly newsletter. And so we would not only give props to those workers, but we would tell the
Yeah.
story about how this worked and how it gets to the end goal of good quality and safe work. And so we were
Awesome.
trying to help grow that knowledge base to everyone in the organization. By doing
Hmm.
that, along with some other pieces, I was actually hired as a consultant out of that organization by Chevron to do this to their entire global operations. COVID kind of put a stop to that
Oh,
midstream,
wow.
but the idea there was is they saw such great value in what we were doing, and that was this hard copy,
Yeah.
very average way of doing it. Now that we have AI with that capability, we
Yeah.
can grab those pieces of information, put them into the AI, and it can help distill it into an existing training platform that we've built. The other benefit is that
Yeah.
eventually, being spending a lot of time in change management and continuous improvement,
Okay.
we have the ability to right now people can speak into an AI and it can translate that and dump that information into the database, that library, to create training programs.
Mm.
But from a change management
Yeah.
program, that I think a lot of people would be scared in most industries or just not trust talking into a computer or feel comfortable with it. So the idea there is to
Yeah.
go out and grab that information by actual in-person contact initially, where you actually can have the
Okay.
conversation like you and I are now about the program. And this is how we benefit from it. And this is how we're
Yeah.
benefiting from your information. And then there are some very specific questions that allow us to drag that information, to pull that information and those ideas out of our current workers. And that's what we can put into the AI.
Wow.
And once they've seen over a short period of time, 6 months, maybe 7 months, once we've seen over that short period of time that they're training and how it's adapting and how they'll actually recognize that some of their information that they've given is a part of the organization's overall training program, then we gain the trust. And that's when
Mhm.
we can go ahead and start using a much more automated version where the AI actually asks a question during training. You just saw this function. How would you have
Yeah.
done it in a different way? And then they would speak into the microphone
Yeah.
in their native language, because a lot of times we have English as a second language in the field, and that would be
Mm.
automatically brought into the training programs and be able to use that to adapt and grow the program.
That's amazing. Okay. Okay, cool. So what is the long-term goal for this the software?
um, my my dream would be to be able to create something that has a very large market share. I mean, who doesn't when you're creating a startup? But
Yeah.
the my hope is that by doing things like being able to integrate it with Workday, and integrate it in things like
Mhm.
Salesforce apps and things like that, and have that interoperability
Yeah.
early on, that
Yeah.
will attract attention of a larger organization like that might eventually see value in acquiring it and exiting at some
Yeah.
point. Um, my thing is I love building stuff, and one of the reasons why I want to build this and why it's been a part of what I've been wanting to do for many years now,
Mm.
and trying to make it work with the technology of the day, is because it changes people's lives in the field. And it doesn't matter if it's
Mm.
oil and gas, if it's retail. Walmart's training programs, I know this from firsthand, are absolutely bare minimum. They actually expect you to just go learn everything you need to learn on the job, rather than get
On the
any
job.
real help from the onboarding process or even continued education process. You watch the
Yeah.
same video every quarter for your entire career there. And so there's a lot of value in creating something that actually adapts. And
That's
that's where
true.
I get excited when you see
Yeah.
the faces of the people in the field understand that they're being taken care of, that the company's caring about them by giving them this information, and also accepting
Mm.
their information back, their ideas, their experiences, and their skills. It really does change the way the environment and within the organization goes. It changes morale and
Yeah.
everything else. And we've proven that. That's why Chevron was so interested in what I was doing. And
Yeah.
that's what I love. That's what I love about it. That's what the vision I have, is just being able to make employees, workers' lives that much better, that much quicker.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of the time when I've started a job and I'm, just from training material, there's a lot of the time where you latch onto that one colleague and you're like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
So it would be nice to have something that would kind of, be able to communicate that. And I can always go through and go back and read that instead of, annoying Mary every day.
Yeah, and
All
that's
right.
the other benefit is, the AI in any training program really can allow you to track your workers' knowledge base. And
Yeah.
so by creating the programs in such a way that when you quote unquote test them with some quick Q&A near the end of the training or even during the training, it can manage that and know that, well, they knew this one immediately, but they had a harder time with this piece. So the next time they
Yeah.
take this course, we're going to add that into it.
Yeah.
And it can intermix within other courses. So they're still seeing it in other places rather than just one course, or one
Yeah.
topic that they're learning about, and really make a big
Gosh.
difference. The other great piece about it, and what I'm really excited about, is we get to take all of leadership and all of
Mhm.
customer service and
Mhm.
or whatever it might be specific to the organization. Um, all that data of all that amazing information that's out there about what everybody's learned and what we believe and what experts believe about what works for, let's say, retail customer service, and we can throw
Yeah.
that right into the training program so that it's
Mm.
automatically and always integrated right into every bit of the training program for that organization. So no matter what they're
Yeah.
learning, they'll always have those little steps and the little pieces of verbiage within the training that brings them back to what good quality retail leadership is, or whatever, or good quality customer service is, or that, or
Yeah.
how to, best do this medical technique or whatever it might be, and
Yeah.
and always have that ingrained in there. So we're always coming back to it, and we're always solidifying that verbiage.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly thinking the possibilities are truly endless. I mean, the convenience of having things happen like in real time and
Mhm.
industries like the medical field would be, amazing. It would really help those kinds of people because, like, you kind of need to know if processes have changed and you need to know today. So
Right.
it's nice to like
Yeah.
keep up with the times.
When you look at the healthcare industry as a great
Mhm.
example, you've got a doctor who has spent decades doing their job. And at
Yeah.
65 years old, all they've done is whatever that surgery or whatever their specialty is, and
Hmm.
working in a big hospital. And yes, they've conveyed some data and some information to students coming through and on their in all of that,
Yeah.
but that's a one-on-one thing. And when
Yeah.
they leave, when they retire, it's gone
It's gone.
unless they've been being able to convey lots of information in detail through papers, and some doctors do and some
Mm.
don't. That's lost, let alone lost to that one specific hospital or group of hospitals.
Yeah.
One of the things that brought all this to mind for me was back in the early 2000s. I was in the military and law enforcement training environments, and I
Okay.
was traveling around the world, and I was teaching high level techniques to
Hmm.
maybe sometimes 25, sometimes 100 officers or personnel at any given
Yeah.
moment. As soon as that
Wow.
class is over, I get on a plane and fly home. So
Mm.
any other, I mean, of course they could reach out on email or whatever it might be, but the
Yeah.
reality of the consistency of keeping them from drifting off of that technique, right, of keeping it at a high level of
Yeah.
what's required, uh, immediately
Hmm.
starts to take place. They start to immediately drift.
Yeah.
That's just human nature. And
Yeah.
it always bugged me. And so that was when I was trying to figure out how do we do this? How do we get this knowledge so that
Yeah.
it's much more available and it's much more consistent? And once we figured that
Yeah.
out, once I was able to figure out how to do that, all that time period coming together and looking at other things and watching science and everything else, um, has now led me eventually here, where it's, man, with
Hmm.
AI, it's absolutely uh, endless, the opportunities and the businesses and the industries and everywhere else where this can play. And with AI, it allows
Yeah.
us to make an inexpensive variation or smaller variation for smaller organizations, and we can make a bespoke, ginormous program for a large organization and anything in between. If
Mm.
some of the ideas about how to the questions and things like that used to pull that information out of people and ask them those questions and drill into that comes from a DoD program. So the Department of Defense, they ended up letting it go because they didn't have the technology at the time to turn that data into something that was easily actionable. And so
Oh,
now it sits idle.
wow.
Nobody's doing anything about it. DoD's
Yeah.
given up on it. And here I am trying to do this as, quickly and early on so we can get it to be a very viable thing that's easy to implement and start.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay. Right. So what are some of your challenges that you're facing at SynthSage at the moment?
So key is, this is absolute seed period. It's making sure that
Yeah.
it is a viable thing, which I have done. We do know that the technology is there to be able to do this and what resources we're going to be using. Um,
Okay.
I've got a buddy that owns an AI training company teaching people how to use AI, who's been my
Okay.
go-to CTO, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
currently, and in-house expert for that. the
Okay.
The biggest piece is the opportunity to get that little influx of cash, to get a
Yeah.
little bit of less than organic marketing, um,
Yeah.
to uh, one of the things, the main pieces is, as we build it, we have to understand that AI is going to exponentially change and adapt
Mm.
within the
Yeah.
next 6 months, 6 years, whatever. So creating a
Yeah.
program that has continuous improvement built into it. So it's a constant looking at what can change, what can we improve, how can we use the new things that are coming along, and that kind of stuff. It's one of the
Yeah.
benefits of being a continuous improvement guy. I can build that in, no problem. Um,
Yeah.
and the so we have that, and then the other piece is it's going to end up being marketing. Um,
Mm.
we have the companies that are doing training programs or supplying those kinds of backbones for organizations are
Hmm.
doing nothing like this. It's build
Yeah.
a what it's record a video and then add some text and, put questions on
Yeah.
the end and that kind of thing. It's nothing like
Yeah.
this where we're really pulling true data and information,
Yeah.
and then making it easily bespoke. We don't have to go
Hmm.
pull video. AI will design our videos and we after we give it some structure so that we have that
Yeah.
good quality consistency there. And we are
Yeah.
multi-language. Any of those other organizations have to
Mm.
build it with the language translation in it.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
AI automatically accepts and transmits in whatever language the person needs, any language in the world. It's got it figured
Mm.
out and it's instantaneous. We don't have to build that in. We just have to tell
That's so cool.
AI, find out what language they want, and then it does it for them.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome. It takes anything that we build and just automatically adapts it to any language. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
the other one is going to be hiring. Um,
Mm.
that's one of the exciting things about being a part of Hustle Wing is that this is my 60-40 hustle,
Okay.
and for anybody
Hmm.
else that I would need to be coming in here, it would be their 30 to 70% hustle, and
Yeah.
or at best. And so I think that's the greatest value for me is as I
Hmm.
start to grow, as I get into AngelList and start getting other funding and some extra capital push, to be
Yeah.
able to reach out and bring in some of these part-time people who are A players. I'm a big fan
Yeah.
of working with A players. And people who are going to be doing side hustles like that through Hustle Wing, I know for a fact are generally thinking a little bit higher than the average worker. They're more capable,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
more potential for those A players to be showing up there. And so I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of building a very good, very flat structure of a whole lot of very capable people. And
Hmm.
I've done it in the past, and I'll do it again. But
Nice.
it's a new market for me. It's
Yeah.
it's the next step from what I've been doing. So it's not
Mhm.
completely different, but
Yeah.
um, it would be nice to have something like that with Hustle, to have those ties and be able to use Hustle Wing as a hiring place,
Yeah.
find
Awesome.
that talent.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Eddie, and for sharing SynthSage with us. It's been a pleasure chatting to you and getting to know, the SaaS. I wish you all the best in the future. I can't wait until this is readily available because I can see the need for it already.
Well,
And
thank you.
yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you for your
Uh,
time.
all right, Izzy, thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.